So next we're going to look at adding some sub bass to our track. We have this rolling bass line, but it's more in the mid frequencies. So I'd like to have a sub bass just kind of behind it. So I'm going to work on that next. So I have selected this Anna 2 track here because I want to insert a new instrument underneath here. And I'm going to go to Instrument Devices, and we're going to insert Vital in here. So we've added the Vital device here, and I have a bass preset I've made, this one right here. So I'm going to load it up here, and if I play a note here, that's the sound. So let's go to our track, F7, and basically I'm going to follow the same notes, obviously, as this rolling bass here. So we're starting with the F at the beginning here. So I'm just going to open up 4 bars. So I'm just going to do notes every 16th basically, but I'm going to start them on the 2nd 16th of every bar. So at the very beginning of the track, let's make sure we're on 16ths, and I'm going to start this F note right here. I want it a little longer, so I'm just going to change my snap to 8ths. And then I'm going to copy and paste that to the next couple of bars. So that'll sound like this. Great. So now I'm just going to copy this over and place it where I need it. We're going to modulate here up in notes, so I'm just going to skip that one there. Let's just have a listen. So we'll come back in right here. And again, we're going to modulate here and come back in here. And again, we're going to modulate here. Great, so I'm just going to put in those parts that we skipped here, up to the A flat and then down to the E flat. So let's just create a block in here. Put these 4 in, and then we want the E flat here. So let's listen to that. So I'm going to copy this and move it into these spots here. So then here we're also going to paste that in. And then back to our F. Okay, so our rhythm kind of changes here on this part. So that is bar 49. So I'm just going to put in another section here, and that will cover that chord change here. And if we look at our chords for our bass, we're going from E flat to B flat, E to B to F to C, D, A, and C. So we just have to kind of follow that part of the chord sequence there. In this case, we're going to start with the D flat here, and that is this one here. And instead of being off the beat, I'm going to be on the beat this time. So I'm going to start here and just pull this out all the way to here. Then next up, we'll have a B, and then we will have our F, and then our C, and our D, then up to our A flat here, and then back down to our C again. I'm just going to do two separate notes here. So let's take a listen to that. Cool, so that is that section done. And then after that section, we should be going back to our regular F minors. So I'm just going to grab this F minor here and paste it in. Okay, so that takes us up to our breakdown here. And then we also want to add this bass in again at the end of the song. Okay, so we still have an ending to figure out here, but that's the sub bass for now. And we may modify it a little bit as we go here. I'm just going to go to F6, take a look at the sub bass here. So I'm just going to do a little EQ on this bass here, and I'm going to add one of Reason's effects, and that is called a channel EQ. So that's this one here. I'm going to switch on the low pass and just take it right down, because I don't want it to cover any of the frequencies of the other rolling bass. I'm just going to take this one right down to to about here. We can just leave this one off for now, and I don't know if I was going to change any of the other frequencies in that. I just wanted to carve out a little space so that this bass isn't interfering with the other one. So let's listen to that. If I turn this off, we're just getting rid of some of that mid-range frequency. And then on the rolling bass itself here, what I'm going to do here is also add a channel EQ just to roll off some of the lower frequencies. So I'm going to grab that here. And this time I'm going to do a high pass filter. And I'm just going to go up to kind of a matching frequency where we cut off the low on the other bass. This one's just a little bit higher. If you press the shift key and then drag with your left mouse button, you can get more accurate changes. So I'm going to put it here at 194. So that's about the same as the other bass. And that's all I'm going to do with this EQ here. Let's have a listen to that. If I turn it off, so we've just cleared a little space for the lower sub bass and this rolling bass here to coexist. Something else I'd like to do with this bass here is add a little bit of saturation. I may also do that to the sub bass. So I'm going to add another device here, and this is a device that was just released by Reason, and it is called Osmium Distortion Matrix. So I'm just going to add it above here. As soon as you see the plus sign, you can drop it in. And I'm going to leave it on solid saturation. I'm going to turn down the drive a bit here. So I'm just going to solo this sound so you can hear what it does. So as you can hear, it adds some saturation to the signal. This is a 3-band effect, so we can affect low frequencies, mid, and high frequencies. Currently, this set of effects is affecting the whole frequency spectrum because we don't have the bands on, so we're not on multiband at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch on multiband, and I'm going to leave saturation on, and I'm going to use tube saturation here, and I'm just going to play this in solo just to hear it. Great. And then on the lower end, I'm going to add an EQ here. So we have a parametric EQ here. And I'm going to take the low gain all the way down, move this frequency down to about here, and leave the rest of it. So let's listen to that. So basically I'm cutting out more of this low frequency to give space to the other bass. So if I solo them together, I'm also going to take out some of this high end on this one here. You can hear it. So I'm just going to take that fizz right out of there and leave the rest. Great, so let's hear that in the context of the track. So we're just going to do a little bit more sound design and arrangement in these next videos. And the polytone here, I've created this singular lead of my own here based on the singular lead patch right here. So if I play this one, and then I'll play the one I have modified, So as you can hear, it's a little bit shorter. Its sustain has been, or the release and the sustain have been taken down quite a bit on both voices here, as you can see over here on the amp envelope. And then in the effects section here, I still have the Bit Crush and the Valhalla supermassive reverb on it here. So in the track, that'll sound like this. Yeah, so that's the singular lead sound. And then this main lead sound here, let's just take a look at that. That was Vital. I haven't added any effects to this at all. Just going to make sure it's selected here. So this is our new filter delay saw. So there's just some subtle changes in that preset. You can hear the difference. One thing I do want to do, I'm noticing the kick drum in our acoustic kit is a little bit loud here. So I'm just going to take down this transient here. Let's just listen to it and see where it sounds good. Yeah, I think it's a little better there. Take the snare down a bit as well. Great. I'd also like to increase the tempo of the track from 130 to 138. I was doing some experimenting and I kind of like the faster tempo. So that'll sound like this. Yeah, I definitely prefer that faster tempo. Hopefully you do too. So next I'm just going to look at creating another part to fit into this song. It's going to be like a kind of a high bass, but sort of a melody. And I'm thinking of using a arpeggiator to do something with that. So